Welcome to SharkCapTable.pro. Keep a bigger bite of equity. So we're going to do section 6 today, which is all about structuring your deal. So I'm going to click on that button and automatically it brings us down here. Let me give you a little overview. This is where we're going to structure raises with common, with or without warrants, preferred, with or without preferentials, and this will be voting preferred, or convertible notes. Now, we have a button here that allows you to create a summary, which means it's going to hide a lot of these buttons which are necessary for input but not necessarily a summary. This button here, of course, restores all of the control buttons and brings them into view. And of course, we need to zero the data. It is nice to have these dual controls where you can play with mid-revenue and EBITDA with the internal rates of return earned by preferred shares. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to zero the data. When we've done that, we now see some pink. That indicates we have a liquidity issue. We also have these numbers here which are in negatives. So we need to solve this problem because we have no cash and we got a negative cash flow. So we're going to have to sell some shares. First thing we got to do is let's come down here and do the founder. Now I want to mention that you only do vertical raises. Don't go horizontal because you have lots of things below that you need to look at. So let's come in here. How much do we need to raise? Well, we probably ought to raise something close to this number right there. So let's go, and you can see it melting away. Let's reduce it a little bit more here so that we have just $10,000 at the end of year one. By the way, there are no months. It's always the beginning of the year and the end of the year. Purchases or sales of securities are made at the beginning, and if you exit, it's going to be at the end of the year. So we've raised $335,000, and let's come on down and see what else is needed. Well, we need a price. We happen to have 0.05 cents in there. That's fine. Coming down further, nothing in the warrants, nothing in the preferred. Coming down further, nothing in the convertible notes. So in this yellow, of course, we have our common that we issued. And we probably are going to do some options. Now, this can get a little tricky, but let me try to explain to you what this is all about. I'm going to bring this up so you can actually see all of the tables. Let's put some options. Let's put 100,000 options in. Now, I want to review what's going on down in this table here because this is where the rubber meets the road. Under current rules, we must expense the value of the option. Now, the value of the option is simply defined as what are you going to get for it when you exercise it, and what did it cost you? The difference is what the value is today. However, the value today needs to be discounted by a risk factor. So here we have an option value discount rate. It could be akin to a venture capital rate. Here we have the vesting price, the price that will be vested. Now, we must pick a price, and that price carries on through whenever the vesting period is done. In other words, this price here is going to maintain itself in the calculations whether you have a 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1 year vesting period. Now, the value of the option simply is going to be the share price at the time we exit. So we're going to subtract the two and get some value. And that value is going to be placed in the year. For example, the 7th year, this value out here is $51,477. But we're going to discount it by 30%. That yields $6,311. That $6,311 is going to be amortized over 7 years, straight line approach, We're going to see that up in the income statement, where I'm going to go to it right now. And we have to see it with the orange because the detail is there. So we come down here and presto, right here is the founder amortized option value, 902 per year. Now let's do something here. Let's go back to 6, and I'm going to make this let's come on down here, got all the way down. I'm going to make this a 5. I'm going to go back to, now notice that now it's worth a little bit less. Why was it worth a little less? Because the value of the company is less in year 5 than it is in year 7. So now this is the net present value of 14.9, which is now 3106. We're going to go back up to the low, and presto, there we now, instead of 906, we now have 621, and notice it's only for 5 years. Now remember, we're staggering these every year because we don't have a chance to sell founders and friends and round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all in the same year. They're specifically laid out so that you have one of these per year. Let's go back down, hit 6. Now, we still have a problem. We've got negative cash flow, and liquidity is bad, so we need to sell some more stock. Well, in the second year, beginning of the second year, we're going to do friends, and we're only going to be able to do common. Let's go here, and we got to raise at least that amount of money. Yeah, 500,000. Let's try to raise a little bit less. There, $480,000, 470,000 bucks. We're still very low on liquidity. We want to try to save as many points as we possibly can. Now we're going to scroll down here a little further. Remember, we used to set for the founders the price of the shares, but now the price of the shares is empty because we must pick a pre-money valuation. Now, there are 2 other ways that we're going to get into, but not right this moment. We're just going to come in and dial in what we think is an appropriate pre-money value. And I'll set at 1.5 million. This brown button allows you to do 4 things. It looks at forward multiple of revenue. It looks at trailing multiple of EBITDA. It looks at trailing multiple of revenue and forward multiple of EBITDA. So you can see that if we click this 4 times, we go around in a circle. Same thing over here. This is a circular. Usually you want to look at multiples of revenue going forward. So if we think the company could have a multiple times its revenue to equal 5 million, 1.5 million probably isn't too far off. Now, where do you get this number? There we go. We're going to scroll to number 2, or click to number 2. And remember, these are our valuations. Remember, this little pink button allows you to select the type of progression, whether you want to do it all at once or individual. The way this is set up right now, you can do them all at once. This multiple here is the EBITDA multiple, and this multiple here is for the revenue. So if we pick revenue, it'll be multiplied by 10. Let's go back down to number 6. Let's continue. All right, so we've selected an amount of money. Let's move up a little bit. We've selected a pre-money valuation, hence we get a price per share. And at this time, we cannot do any warrants or preferreds or convertible notes. And you can see that we've gotten 21 million shares of common issued, about 23% increase. And let's put a few more options in. Let's go 300,000 options, and we've arbitrarily set this price. We need to make this red number usually less than what we anticipate the exit value. You can see that that number comes up here. It's a 6-year valuation, or actually 6 years the vesting period. We can go 7. It's kind of neat. Go back and forth. Let's let it sit at 6. Now, if you try to sell before this, let's see what happens there. It's set at 6. Let's set it at 4. They're still there, but you've already sold out here and here and here and here. You'll get some of the options, not all of them. All right, let's go and do another one because we still don't have the problem solved. All right, so hit the section 6. Let's go and solve the problem. All right, so this time let's do a convertible note. And it says into common, it reminds you that that's what's going to happen. The capital raise, let's see, we need about 408, so let's do a nice even $500,000. And coming down here, there will not be any pre-money valuation. Notice you cannot put it in, the spinners are locked. It's because that there isn't any valuation associated at this moment. It occurs later. Well, we don't have anything to do with preferred, so we're not going to do anything there, but we do have something to do here. Coupon rate, well, let's say 8%, that's all right, and a discount off of the next round's price would be fine, and a pre-money cap of $5 million. How does that compare? Yeah, that's okay. It's approximately there. So we've not issued any common because we haven't converted, and we're not going to put any more vesting options in, so we're going to leave that one blank. Time to come back up and see what else we can do. So we're a little light on our liquidity. 10%'s not really good enough. So let's come in here and let's do a preferred round. There we have a preferred round. And let's raise $500,000 because we want to get this liquidity up. So what would be our pre-money value when we do this? Oh, I don't know, maybe $7.5 million. That gives us a price of 0.08, 8 cents, 8.5 cents. And we are going to have let's have a 8% dividend. And right now, we're showing a negative external rate of return if we sold in year 5. Let's go to year 6 or 7. Let's go to 7 and see what happens. Well, now it goes to 57. A 6 takes a little while. It's a little latency. Let's put a preference in here and see what happens. Even a small preference of half your money back increases. When we go to 1, of course, that means you get 1 times your money back. You can see that as this number gets bigger, this little number here gets bigger, so does your internal rate of return. So let's leave it at 1, and everybody will be happy. Nothing more on convertible notes because that's already been taken care of. Now let's go down and look at what we've done here. No common stock has been issued under common sales. However, preferred was issued 8.8 million shares. We have a dividend that gets converted into or accrues into shares of 707. Sounds like a jet. And it happens each year thereafter. It's based upon the value that they paid and divided by the value of the shares at this point right here. You don't continue to do it into the future. So here is the number of shares that was converted based upon the convertible note. So when you do all of this, it's about 20%. And we're not doing any more vested options, and we've just about done it. So let's go back up the top and make sure we have enough money. It looks that way. Cash flow going into the future tracks our ending cash. Plenty. Now that's the mid revenue. Let's try a low revenue and see what happens. You see, if we had low revenue, we haven't raised enough money. And if we try the high revenue, again, we still haven't raised enough money. So the reason we have these buttons up here is to test out scenarios. You got to make it work for any one of these. You just can't say, well, I'm going to only do the high one because maybe the low one hits, and that means you don't have enough money. Right there, see? Liquidity, negativity.